Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live stream. So we got a lot of things to go over, so let's jump into it real quick. Now, the thumbnail and the title talks about Celsius 2.0, and what it really comes down to is a lending platform. Now, the thing I'm going to talk about is not essentially Celsius coming back or something like that, but the different things that made the actual Celsius a problem, which would be the commingling of funds and, of course, the shenanigans that were going on behind the scenes. But really just came down to the loans that it was. I'm going to show you why this is going to come back, and it's going to bite us if we allow it to happen. Now, before I get into all of that and talk about it, this is a pretty positive stream today. Now, we're going to talk about how Ethereum may be jumping up to $3,000 as it turns deflationary. There's a couple of different things to support that. Also, we're going to take a look at how potentially one of these ETFs could, or all of them, could be approved by tomorrow. But before we get into that, I think it's more important that we talk about things that are going to really affect you and affect your bank account. Because really, it's not how much you make, it is how much you keep. So this is a little piece that came across my desk. Investment advisor 2 Prime sees a $2 billion in demand for Bitcoin-backed loans. Now, here's the thing. I don't have any problems with loans. I don't have any issues with that. But when I see these things and I see what could potentially happen, I have to call it out and tell you the potential pitfalls of what it is. Here's what we have. This is a quote from Alexander Bloom, managing partner at SEC-registered investment advisor 2 Prime. So yes, this organization, this institution is with, and is of course, as far as registration, it is registered with the SEC. Does that mean that the SEC is infallible and they're going to protect you? No, it's your job to protect yourself. But this is what Alex says. Since the soft launch of our lending offering on September 13th, we've been surprised by how much demand there is for crypto secured loans. Let me say that again. Crypto secured loans. That's what you could find over at Celsius, and it was not the reason why it went down. Again, commingling of funds, essentially a Ponzi scheme. The token itself, Celsius, was essentially worthless. I know people are talking about that and they're fighting that in the courts right now. It's worthless. And here we have for crypto-backed loans. The loans are typically over-collateralized, and it goes into some other stuff, and it talks about BlockFi and Celsius as well, and da-da-da. Here's the thing. That's what I need you to understand about this. When you're talking about a loan and you're going to go over collateralization, that's fantastic. And if you're going to use crypto, which is what this is actually going to do, I've done this. And I can tell you right now, it is a bad idea. What do you use loans for? What do you get a loan for? What do you usually get a loan for? Well, usually, not all the time, but we see loans for like houses. We get a nice little house. That could be a 15-arm adjusted rate mortgage. It could be a 30-year traditional. We can get a loan for vehicles, cars, that type of thing. We can get business loans for our business to help fund our growth and things like that. We can get short-term loans, but of course, those would be called like payday loans that are pretty predatory. The thing about this is you have to think about, why would I get a loan and why would I actually do this, and who is actually getting these loans moving forward? I can't answer all those questions. I can just tell you the reason why a lot of people will get loans is for those reasons that I just listed. And the problem with an over-collateralized loan is that there's a thing called a margin call. So when you over-collateralize the loan, let's say you need, $100,000 or something around that range. You need $100,000. What are they going to ask you for? They're going to say, well, you need to over-collateralize that. What do you mean? You're going to give me 2x. You're going to give me $200,000 worth of Bitcoin or Pepe coin, whatever you got. Okay, what's the rate? Well, the rate could be, it's not substantial. It's pretty high actually. But if you give us 3x of what you want, let's say you want 100,000, give us 300,000, and we'll get you an even lower loan than what's being out there for houses or for cars or for whatever else it is. You think to yourself, that's pretty good. Well, how about another one? Yeah, we can give you the lowest loan at 4x. That's what Celsius did, essentially like that. Now, I'm not saying, and I'm not telling you exactly what this organization is doing, but when you're going to over-collateralize the loan, that is what they're going to do. Now, here's the big problem, and here's the enormous problem that you have to think about. And again, I can't tell you what you do. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not your dad. Do what you want to do. This is looking back in 2021. And what will happen, because I think we're on a precipice of a massive bull run. I mean, I do. In 2024, roughly around April, that's when we're going to have the Bitcoin halving. I think everything kind of pops off that. Some people are saying we'll hit an all-time high by the end of 2024. Some people say 2025. I don't know what it is, but again, the time frame of the loan that you're talking about, if you're going to put in Bitcoin, let's just take Bitcoin, and we'll take a look at some alts in a second. You take a look at Bitcoin, and you're like, okay, I've got one Bitcoin for, let's just say 30,000, right? Okay, we need 2 Bitcoins because that's a 2x. We need 3 Bitcoin. That'll be essentially $90,000 or something like that. That's all fine and dandy and cool when you give it over here. But what happens? Well, eventually things are to go down, maybe a little margin call. Then you get margin called down here, and you got to keep putting in your Bitcoin, because I don't know about you, but whatever loan that they're actually offering and however long it actually is, if it's only for 3-4 months or something that you need like super fast, okay, gotcha. But usually these loans are a little bit longer for what people really want. And that problem is that once you get margin call, you're like, look, you got 2 options. You can pay this off now or just collateralize some more Bitcoin. You keep giving it Bitcoin and it goes up and everything's great. And you're like, cool. But guess what happens? Bear markets don't last forever. Bull markets don't last forever. And then you get to this nonsense right here. So you're up here and your $30,000 Bitcoin that you have, now you're down to 20,000 or 23 or 19 or heaven forbid down to the 15,000 range. Now you got to over collateralize this and keep over collateralizing this, or they're going to liquidate you. And when they liquidate you, just so you know, that is a taxable event in the United States. So all these things that we think about, like, oh, let's get a loan, oh, let's put on my crypto, no big deal. You really got to think about that before you do it. I did that. I had to pay off a loan way quicker than what it was supposed to be. Thankfully, that was actually Celsius. Unfortunately, I got 6 figures stuck in there. But that's just looking at Bitcoin. Now I want to take it down this route. Let's say you're like, well, how low could it go? Well, if we're taking a look at cycles, in 2013, the cycle, from the top to the bottom is 85%. And usually what's going to happen here is that people are going to start to get these loans. They're going to do something really stupid. And what they're going to do is they're going to take out loans, and they're going to take that money and they're going to put it into some crap altcoin that they think is going to go to the moon, because that's what everybody on YouTube says. And that's what everybody on Twitter, and people get sucked in. That's why there's tourists. They're going to take that money, they're going to put it into those, and it's going to crash. And they'll be like, oh, that Bitcoin that I have, well, now I got to over collateralize it. No big deal. But then it keeps going down. And that is a huge problem. And that's what's going to happen again. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. All the problems that we went through in 2017 and 2021, it's going to happen again, because people have the memories of a goldfish. And I have to explain this to you, even though you probably know, just to get it into your head, to remind you that don't do something incredibly stupid, to do something like we just talked about. Because if you do, again, you get liquidated and it's going to be a pretty bad experience. So anyhow, that's just taking a look at the cycle. This is Bitcoin. We actually went down 77% from the all-time high, 67 to 15, what we just took a look at. But like, Rob, but I'll just use like Ethereum. Well, Ethereum usually drops around 94, 95%. Yeah, it would actually, wow. It was 94%, 2018. And then so far, we're down 79% or 80%. Okay, well, what if I use Cardano? Well, Cardano in 2018, it dropped 98%. And thus far, it's gone to 91%. So I don't know what's going to happen in the next run, but I can just tell you that if you think you're going to get away with like these loans and make it big, and of course do something incredibly dumb, like take that money out and put it in more into crypto as the bull run heats up and everything else, and you don't sell, these are the things that happen. So just trying to bring it to everybody's attention before it becomes a little bit too much. And you guys are vets, so I don't have to really tell you so much. That's why I made this. There's a link in the description. It's called Don't Make These Crypto Mistakes. You click on that, and it's a video of all the things we just talked about and more so. Like I said before, once the bull run comes, I'm going to sell. I'm going to sell roughly between 50 and 80% of all my crypto, and I'm going to step away from this channel. And the reason is because people get just ridiculous crazy, and I'll come back when the bear market hits. But once I sell, that's it. So let me know what you think about that in the comments section. Let's talk about some good stuff. I know it was a little bit harsh, but it is what it is. Ether. Ethereum. I find this fascinating because I'm not a big believer in TA, but this actually worked out pretty well. Ether could hit $3,000 as a soaring network activity turns token deflationary. This is from Marcus Thielen, research head of Matrixport. And he takes a look at a couple indicators, says Ethereum's weekly revenue, which is the income from the network's transaction fees, also known as gas, recently rose above 30 million for 2 consecutive weeks, up from a yearly low of 12 million in early October, which means essentially is that people are actually using Ethereum for the transaction fees. And that's why you see a lot of the altcoins jumping up, because for like these DEXs, if you want to get some of these altcoins, you got to use Ethereum. And what do you need that? You need gas for. That's a real utility, I think. A tactical bullish trade could have merit for as long as weekly Ethereum fees stay above $30 million. And he talks about how, of course, now because of all the things that are going on, Ethereum is now deflationary. The bullish outlook marks a pivot from the bearish views on ETH in September, because the same guy, Thielen, said he cited deteriorating network revenues and user activity, which is what we talk about a lot on this channel. We can talk about transactions and the things that are going on-chain analysis, things like that. But what I always like to take a look at is, are people actually voting with their wallet? Meaning, what are the fees and how much are they generating? And apparently, and it's looking pretty good for Ethereum. Ether early in October declined to a 7-month low, while its relative valuation against Bitcoin tumbled to a 15-month low. And that's what he said. He said, look, months ago in September, he was very bearish. And he took a look at the fees, and now he's like, I'm very bullish because people are actually using Ethereum. So there's 2 things. First of all, was this really deflationary? Well, there's a great website, link in the description, ultrasound.money, 100% free. You can check it out. And you can see right here, as far as the Ethereum supply over the last day, it is deflationary, which is great, but that's only a day. Nobody cares about that, Rob. So we click on 1 day, 7 days. It was actually inflationary for a short amount of time. Then it became deflationary. And actually, in 30 days, if you just take a look at 30 days, it's actually vastly inflationary. I mean, it's going up because no one was really using it. However, if we zoom out, since the merge, which happened over a year ago, you can see this is the baseline for what they considered inflationary versus deflationary. And in actuality, it's negative 0.185%. So not fantastic, but as far as supply chain, it is down 256,000 as far as Ethereum goes, because it's being used, it's being burned, works out pretty well. And also with those fees, he was totally correct. And of course, people say, and this is the thing we always talk about, but Rob, the fees, there's a vast difference between the Solana fees and Cardano fees as opposed to Ethereum gas fees. And you're 100% correct. What I like to look at, this website of crypto fees, I click on this. This is the 7-day average, 1 day fees. It's, man, 6.5 million. That's crazy. But if you click on more details, what we're looking for is there an uptick in the amount of fees that are being used? And of course, yes, it is here. And you can see that every day it's like 6.5 million, 7 million, a little bit drop here, 4 million. But over the last 2 weeks or so, it's 30 million plus. So yeah, that's in the right direction. It looks like people are using a lot of Ethereum. So maybe it does go up and it hits that magical $3,000 price target. I won't hold my breath. That's why I dollar cost average. And then also, lastly, these are from the 2 gentlemen. They are analysts. I think it was a Bloomberg. I was getting confused. But this is Eric Balchunas and James Seifert. And they've been, they're the ones that have been touting off for quite some time now, a couple weeks, maybe 3 or so. That's the spot Bitcoin ETF is a 90% approval. And they just put this out today. A brief window opens on November 9th. That's tomorrow, for the SEC to potentially approve all 12 U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF applicants, including Grayscale's. It'll be open for at least 8 days. Even if approvals don't arrive this month, we still believe there's a 90% chance of approval by January 10th. And just to catch everybody up to speed, if we take a look at the ETFs, the one that is coming up for its 3rd deadline would be ARK, Kathy Woods and her outfit. And then, of course, you've got the iShares, which is BlackRock. Their next one is January, and then March is one for everybody. So they're saying that by tomorrow and also 8 days that they could approve a blanket one, and all these ETFs get approved, and then we're off to the races. The question is it really that good for Bitcoin? I believe it is. Who knows if it's in the short term or the long term? Again, that's why I like to dollar cost average, which will lead me to my last point. So where's the last point? We'll get to Q&A. Indicators. I'm always talking about me selling my crypto. And of course, again, there's a link in the description of a video I made, why and when I'm selling 80% of my crypto. It's right there. We've actually taken a look at this ad nauseum, I think, way too much. So you all should know this, but I just want you every day, every couple of days, I want to bring up these indicators so you get comfortable seeing them, because I want you to use them so you can decide for yourself, am I going to diamond hands everything? Or maybe as things get a little bit overblown, maybe I take some profits and pay off my credit card debt. Because in America, as of today, we're over $1 trillion in debt on credit cards. Maybe that's you. I know I have a couple of little things on my credit cards. Maybe I want to pay that off before I get some crazy annual percentage rate, which is charged by the credit card companies. It doesn't matter. I'm getting off topic. The thing is with this is from Looking to Bitcoin. It's 100% free. Links in the description. I use this site. I use Ben's site. And for Bitcoin, this one, the NUPL, net unrealized profit and losses. This is derived from market value and realized value. Market value is the current price of Bitcoin, multiply the number of coins. Realized value takes the price of each Bitcoin when it was last moved. You subtract realized value from market value, and you can calculate unrealized profits and loss. I like this website, and I'm going to have on, matter of fact, where'd it go? Mr. Swift, who is the creator of this website, next week. So I'll ask him some questions. If you got a question for him, put it in the comment section, because I take all this stuff too. But you can just see right here that it's very simple, right? When we're in this range right here, anything in the green range was a pretty good idea to start to accumulate a little bit. Like right down here, November 20th, 2018. That was a good time to accumulate Bitcoin. And then down here, of course, December 5th, which was the low. In the green was a good time to accumulate. Now we're kind of, and then of course you get in this white range, the hope and fear, which people don't really know what's happening. And then it goes to the optimism, anxiety. And I think you can feel it right now. People are more optimistic. Even myself, I'm a little bit bullish. And people are still like, I think things can go pretty well. But then, of course, we get into the belief stage and denial. Denial meaning it'll never go back down because we're in a bull market, baby, and that only goes up. And then, of course, you get into this red part, euphoria and greed. And you can see over time, this is just one indicator, that once it gets in this euphoria and greed section, it kind of calls tops. Not all the time, but it does pretty decent. And again, if I hit 60% of the top to 80%, man, I'm happy. I'm super happy. And we're going to see this kind of go across there. And this is just one of many we're going to take a look at. Again, link in the description. Get used to it. Maybe you might want to use it at some point. But that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Everything I talk about is time sensitive. But that's it for today. Thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Now, if you want to stick around, we'll do a little Q&A. I'll answer all your questions. And we'll go from there. Thanks, everybody. Edward Fox says, it's a great question. You're going to tell us when you're leaving the channel? Yes, Edward. I'm going to tell you when I'm leaving the channel. I'm going to tell you when I'm actually selling. And I'm going to tell you the indicators of when it actually is. And that's it. I will be made fun of. I can just call it right now because people will call me paper hands and a moron for getting out too early. And those same people are probably still holding on to their Luna tokens and FTT tokens. So I don't care. But yes, sir, I will let you know. And I will probably put out just videos on loop, which would be like when I'm selling, things to watch out for, that type of thing. But I won't be back for all the craziness that happens in the bull market because it's just overheated. I'll come back when everything crashes and we'll start this whole process again. Let's see. Danny. I do like that picture. Will you sell directly into cash? Will you sell directly into cash? My plan is to sell Bitcoin into a third at 2 prices, keep the amounts of money that I invested plus tax, and use second, third to buy ETH. Repeat with those. Sounds like a good plan. These are all good plans. And there's multiple plans, and you know what's best for you. Me personally, some I will put into stables. Some I will put into cash. But the thing is, people always ask me, well, why would you put into cash? Because it's going to inflate away. That's the thing with investing. You never stop because it's always a game of finding those assets that are distressed putting that money or that stable or that crypto or that Bitcoin into those distressed assets and writing it up to a point to where it gets overblown, then taking profits and repeating the whole same thing. And there's multiple things that you can do with this. You can do, what you talk about, real estate, land, your own businesses, precious metals, equities, other different altcoins. It just depends on what you want to do. Also, loans are a good one. That's what my wife does quite a bit. But it's all up to you. But yeah, you never stop. That's the thing. So congratulations. You're on a hamster wheel that never stops. All right. Carlos, pleasure. See you in the next bar market with Planet. Yes, exactly. Naz, I told you I would give you a wrench, did I not? Let's see. Let's give Naz a wrench. So let's hold on real quick. Let me bring this up. Who else would like to be a wrench? Or as we call here, a wrench party, or an administrator, or a moderator, I should say. Congratulations, Linking. You are now an admin. Ta-da. Let's see. I wish I was as high as ETH gas fees. I hear it's not that bad. Teeny Tesla, hey fan, no notification. That's just YouTube being YouTube. That's how it goes. Smash the likes, that helps. You know what really helps though? Comments, apparently. Comments in the chats. If you put one in the for questions, I can answer those, or in the regular place. That's always helped a ton. Thank you. Dan and Rob are twins. Exactly. Sometimes Dan's here, sometimes Rob's here. Sometimes I have a green screen, sometimes I don't have a green screen. Yeah, you figure it out. Let's see. Rob, you seem to know a lot about real estate. Not really. It will bottom out in 2026. It kind of seems that way. I'm waiting until then to buy. What are your thoughts? My thoughts are that commercial real estate is going to really take a massive hit as it's already been taking. And I don't think the cost of homes in America is sustainable. I think the average cost right now was $425,000, median average cost for a home across the United States. And of course, in some places it's cheaper, some places it's more expensive. I don't know if there's going to be a crash like everybody seems to keep talking about. It's because there's not too much demand and there's not too much supply. So that kind of equals everything out. I've got people who are in construction, people who are real estate agents, and they're just like, yeah, but not much is going on. So if we had a ton of supply like we had in the Great Recession, but a negative amount of demand, that would be an issue, which is what's going on with Evergrande over in China. They have a ton of supply and they have no demand, and they are actually in bankruptcy. So as far as like what's going to happen, I don't know. I will tell you this. I just saw that they're going to pass, if they're either going to pass a law or they're having a law, they're trying to allow for commercial real estate to more easily be transferred into home buyers and just for retail. So you go from commercial real estate, which in Puerto Rico, there's a lot of these places. I look at them like there's so much commercial real estate here that's not being used. And there's a lot of people looking for places to live. I'm like, that would be a perfect opportunity to transform the businesses that are down on bottom and the ones that are on top, to just wipe those away and then just do condos or do apartments or something like that. And then people could live above there and it can revitalize different areas of Puerto Rico. That's what I see. And there's some kind of law that's either was passed or going to be passed where it's going to make things a lot easier for rezoning. So that I think is a big opportunity. And that's it. It's a good question. Brent says, with most people worried about private keys, why aren't most people tall using Fidelity Crypto for Bitcoin ETH? That's just it. That's what we think the spot ETF is going to do, is because large money players, they don't really want to get into it and have to custody themselves. So they want the exposure without the risk. I think that's silly, but no, it's not silly. It's actually pretty smart. What am I saying? If you have a ton of money and it's all about risk management, probably a better idea for them to go that route. I'm fine with that. I will personally self-custody into my cold storage wallets and be fine. And yeah. Hello, Adrian. I'm never in the denial stage. How's your back? Good. Seeing a physiotherapist, taking medications, trying to not exert myself. And yeah, everything's fine. When Joker says, we're going to miss watching your great videos once the market is in a full bull market. That's so sweet. But I think you guys will be too busy watching your portfolios go up when the bull market comes. And that's cool. I just want to get everybody to that promised land to where they're way in profit and they can take their profits and they can move on. They can do what they want to do instead of just, constantly always here on the hamster wheel. And that's it. So the next big question is this. Here's really the big question you have to ask yourself. What do you do when you don't have to go to your crappy job? And what do you do when money isn't an issue? Because for some of you, that's going to happen. For some of you, it's going to be minimal. You're going to be able to pay off your bills. You're going to be kind of debt free. You're going to have, you're going to feel pretty good. Some of you, that won't even happen. Maybe you'll be able to pay off a big chunk of your debts. And some of you are going to be like, I quit my job. I bought another house. I have no debt and I can just lounge around. So the big question you have to think about to yourself is, what do you do when that happens? And that is a bigger question that you have to ask yourself now, because don't be like me and try to figure it out after the fact, because you make some really bad decisions. It's just true. Hey, I got a question. What's your pin on Algorand? I carry it. I dollar cost average it once a week or so. And you would think it would do pretty well, but that's just one of those things. You know what? This is a great question. And this is a great question because it comes down to the fact of Algorand's been around for how long? It was around, I want to say back in 2017. Correct me in the comments. But, it had a little run up for itself in 2021. A lot of these tokens, a lot of these coins, a lot of these cryptos, all these alts, even Bitcoin, it's going to run up only so much. And a lot of these alts that had their day will not hit their all-time high again. So you have to understand, some of these things just come out of nowhere. Remember Solana back in 2018? Neither did I, because it didn't exist. It came along around in 2021 and it melted everybody's faces. And it was one of those things where people are like, what's going to really crush it? EOS. Pfft, no, it didn't. It crushed it in 2017 and went and faded into obscurity. Maybe I think it's in the top 75 or so still. So you have to really think about this, what's going to be the next big thing? Check this out. So I was going to show this for the video today, but I thought, it's too much. But there's a token called Toncoin. And you've heard me talk about this. And Toncoin is, you have your Telegrams accounts, and Toncoin, you're going to be able to use that as an in-app currency and a lot of hosts of other things. I haven't really done a deep dive into it, but it's made a massive move and it's in the top 16. I was watching guy over at Coin Bureau, him and Jess had a live stream, and they were talking about Toncoin, how it actually made it into, and it's moving into the top 10, whichever one they're looking at. And I thought about this and I'm like, why would people do that? Because we take a look at, first of all, if you look at Toncoin, let me just show you this. This is end of the block. And I've talked about this many times. When you take a look at it, you get worried about who owns this and who's going to dump on me. That's always the big thing. So with Toncoin, you can see the whales and the wallets. 6 whales, 6. I'm sure some of those are on exchange, but not many. 72% is concentrated in 6 wallets. And the other almost 14% is in 53. That's a lot. Let me do some quick math. It's 85%. 85% is in the hands of 59 wallets. All right. So you take a look at that. This green, that's whales. That's not what you want. Investors, 13%. And this is you. This is us, I guess. Retail volume, this little small sliver. And that sounds pretty dangerous, right? We'll compare that to Bitcoin. Here's retail. Here's whales. And here's the investors. That's what you want to see. That's nice. That's real nice. And even Doge, which got a bad rap. Here's whales. Here's the investors. And here's retail. Pretty damn even. I like that one. And here's the thing, even Solana, this is on CoinCarp. If you take a look at Solana, the top 100 holders, 16, 26, 29, 39, 45, roughly 45% is in the top 100. And then, of course, it goes down. So people always say, this is a VC coin, it's a VC coin. And this is the one I was talking about. This is the one that melted faces. And yes, in the beginning there was a bunch of VCs, they held it. But guess what? They probably dumped a ton of it on you and whoever else when it shot up to 250 and then started to collapse because of the FTX issue. And it went all the way down to like $9.72. So I think most of the VCs are gone. They're probably reaccumulating now to do the same thing. But people like even me, I'm like, I don't know about this ton coin because, it's in the hands of so few. Well, so was Solana, and it did great. And one of the things that Jessica pointed out on Coin Bureau, and she had a good point, is Jesser guy, that this is a coin that has done pretty well, but not on any like major exchanges like Pancakes. I don't know what the heck. I mean, PancakeSwap, sure. Uniswap, MEXC, Gate.io. KuCoin's pretty big, but what's the volume? The volume's only like 4.5 million or 5 million roughly. DigiFinex, all right. OKX, that's not bad. But there's no first of all, there's no American-based ones, which shocker. And there's no Binance. So it's done pretty well. So the question that you have to think to yourself is this something I should get into? I will tell you this. These new tokens are the ones that are going to melt faces really bad as time goes on. And it's up to you to figure out what is that altcoin small cap gem. But you have to understand that's just straight up gambling. But with high risk comes high reward. And it's one of those things where do you think the people at Solana were like, I don't want to get into it because there's all these VCs. As it was like $25, then it went to 35, then 55, then it broke 100, and then it broke 150. Then you know where I'm going with this, right? So at some point, that's why I'm saying, don't listen to the ridiculousness out there of you got a diamond hands, bro. Sure. Sure. Leo says, do you lift weights? Yeah, I lift weights. I just tore out a stump in my backyard and I messed up my back. These are the things that you shouldn't do when you're 78 years old, or that's how I feel anyhow. Don't wrench me. Cat with a K, you're already a wrench. Fair, aren't you a wrench already? What? Dan? Nah, that's a great MLK. John Abrazo just made a prophecy that any stock that's a Bitcoin and miner will 100x. Great. If you're talking about like Riot and Mara, I own those. Let's hope that's for sure. Let's see. Fashionably late. Nothing wrong with that. Caspa, though, am I right? I got to tell you, I mentioned Caspa one time on the NFA live show, which we're doing tomorrow. Me, Guy from Coin Bureau, and Ben from In the Cryptoverse. That's tomorrow at it's in the morning. I think it's like 6 Eastern. Yeah, 6 Eastern and 9 Eastern. No. 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern, sorry. And I mentioned Caspa one time. And it was hey, this might do well, Crown might do well, Arbitrum might do well, and Caspa might do well. And I got pinged so hard in Twitter. I was like, every single notification was like people talking about Caspa. So maybe, well, first of all, this will probably hit it over there too. But yeah, Caspa, proof of work, I believe, right? My question is, I don't have time to do research, so maybe you guys could help me. What does Caspa do that we'll say Polkadot, Avalanche, Near, Ethereum and their layer 2s can't do? What makes Caspa so special? And Cardano. What makes Caspa so special and to beat all of those? That's the question I have for you. What's this? Darren says, Rob, thank you for that 2021 chart last live stream showing volatility. In the middle of 21, there was a 69% dip. Were you buying that dip after the big? I was not. I'll be honest with you. At that point, I was just kind of like, I'm just going to ride it up the top and sell it. And I was just, back then, I was kind of going by fractals and just my price predictions, which was, price predictions. Worst things of all time. Which I get to have Guy on the show tomorrow and talk to him about his price predictions. This should be very fun. yeah, so yeah, at that point, Darren, I wasn't doing anything because I wasn't at that point. I'm like, we're in a massive bull run. I think it'll just go up. And of course, it did fall quite precipitously going down. Matter of fact, what I'm going to do real quick is, let me bring that up. It's a pullback. It's just a pullback. This is what it looks like. So remember, even when we get into this massive bull run, which is coming up, which I think is going to melt, it's going to do great. Just remember that. There's a lot of volatility still. And if you think that things just go up straight in a bull market, that's okay. I thought so too. I thought that same thing. It's adorable. But it doesn't happen like that. It's very messy. It's very ugly. And to get to the promised land, it ain't easy, or else everybody would do it. So just be aware. All right. Hey, meme. Rob, is it true if you don't use it, you lose it? Yeah, that's what my physiotherapist said, matter of fact. He's like, you got to get going. Get everyone living in cities and commercial property be like China mass housing. Yeah, depends what you want. It's either that or tiny homes or boxables. See that. And master bot, I think there are spot ETFs in the works. I believe there's a spot Ethereum ETF in the works, and there's also a Bitcoin spot ETF in the works in Hong Kong. China or Canada already beat us. So congratulations, eh? You guys did a great job of knowing what you want. But that's all I know about. Rusty bot, avoid Rusty. I love hobbies. Hello, Nick. By the time I finish, the stream will be over. Danny says, thanks for being with us during the bear. I started following 6 to 8 people, end up with you. Coin Bureau. Paul Baron. That guy's really good. Although he did a very interesting video on Cardano. You can find it right now. You guys should all go watch it, as a matter of fact. Let me show you what it is. I'm sure Paul would love this. So let's see. Yeah, if you like Cardano, you're not going to like this video. So let's see here. As you can tell, these are the things I look at. Herniated discs, Charles Hoskinson and Big Pay, volleyball, my boy Classy over there. Let's see. Paul puts out so many. This is it right here. Go check this out. Cardano Summit was embarrassing. A full recap. So you like Cardano. And then, hey, don't forget to leave Paul a comment. Tell him I sent you. That'll be fun times. I found it quite interesting, actually, that video. You're welcome, Paul. Respect. I tend to believe you are excessively bearish at times. Ahmed, you are correct. But videos like these where you remind us of things like Celsius and other Ponzi are what keeps me hanging around. Well, that's good. Listen, you understand, like, I just try to help you as much as I possibly can. I know I'm a little bit bearish at times because sometimes the bullishness gets ahead of us. Like, think of me. Here's the thing. Think of me as like a barometer, a real indicator. And if I go super bullish, you'd be like, okay, that's it. Then if Rob is super bullish, then maybe this is the time to really get into the market. Just look at it like that way. And then I got this friend, his name's Alex, and we call him Negatron because anything that we talk about, he's always negative. And I'm always throwing ideas at him for businesses. And he's always like, that's stupid. That's not good. That's not going to work. It's going to be blah, blah, blah. But once I throw him an idea and he's like, that's a pretty good idea. I'm like, whew, that was a great idea. So use me as you see fit, Ahmed. And I don't blame you, actually. Rusty Bot says, how do I calculate ETH gas phase? Today it says 51 Guai. This is pretty simple. So you can do this. Type in Guai to US dollar. And there's a bunch of different ones that'll come in. So what'd you say? 51 Guai. I always say it wrong. $1.72. That's how I do it. All right. Tell Beardy, he knows. He's the only one that is holding on to EOS. Just me and him, apparently. How about I tell you when I'm crypto rich? You have the follows, but I definitely don't have your gravitas. Thanks. Nah. I'll just do a couple of videos on repeat. Solana. Ooh la la. Yeah, a lot of people are getting into Solana. I mean, I've been dollar cost averaging for a while. Is melting faces? It's a good thing. It's like you look at your portfolio and like your face just melts. I can't believe it actually happens. You have a problem in having 3 crypto channels at the same time? Nope. I always did the same thing. But 80% of Bitcoin in my portfolio is NFA's fault. Thanks, guys. Yeah, still, I mean, my portfolio is still 75% Bitcoin. Even though I dabble in the alts, just I've had a lot of Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't know. She's got a great question. Hey, Rob, hope you're feeling better with your back. What's your thoughts of Gala Chain? As they are in talks with CoinMarketCap to change their category from gaming to layer 1. This is a great question for Classy Game. He is big into Gala. Go follow him, Classy Gaming, and he will tell you, he'll talk your ear off. So follow him. Yeah, Tayway says Ben's approach is super safe. I feel the risk takers will gain much higher multiples. And you got to understand, like, it's all about what you want to do. I remember this interview, I talk about this all the time. Mark Cuban came out and they asked him, where'd you make all your money? He's like, well, I sold this .com business that I had, for streaming services and sports. And then of course, my millions that I make, I just, get bonds and I get, X percentage. And it's the safest thing that you can possibly do. And when you have like tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, again, it's a risk factor. So the more money that you have, the more you really want to hold on to it as much as possible. You don't need to take the risky plays. Mark Cuban doesn't have to go out and YOLO into Pepe coin and just go, you know what? Maybe this will go to the moon. Although he did screw up in a lot of different things in his wallets and he's been hacked before, but he can afford $1 million. You cannot afford $1 million of losing. So the more money that you make, the more money that you have, the safer you actually are. There's exceptions to the rule. Michael Jordan being one of those. He apparently likes to gamble, but again, him losing $12 million in a weekend in Vegas does not crush a billionaire, greatest of all time basketball player. For you, you would be dead. So again, make sure you take a look at the context behind it. All right. Ada, late to the party. That's no problem. No. John says nothing wrong with offering crypto loans as long as they are over collateralized, which was Celsius was supposed to be doing. They did do that. They did that with retail. That's what I did. And yeah, we can say that they didn't do that, but they also commingled funds. And there was a big issue there. So like that, what I don't concern myself with institutions talking about loans. If MicroStrategy wants to come out and do loans with them, fine. I don't care about him. I care about you guys and what you're doing and your loans and things like that. I got to tell you, I think it's a bad idea and you can do whatever you want to, but I just find discrepancies and problems with that going all the way over there. Now, they may have the best business model. I think it's going to work out and they're going to get paid. They're going to get paid regardless if you get liquidated or not. And they're going to get their fees. So it's great for them. Way to capitalize. But for you, is it going to work out pretty well for you and what you want to do? Because this is the thing. When people take out loans out of crypto, they're like, I'm going to beat the system because I'm going to do what a lot of the rich people do, which is I'm going to buy an asset, I'm going to borrow against it, and then I'm going to die. That's essentially what it is. There's a phrase. If you Google it, buy, borrow, die, that's what a lot of the ultra mega rich will do. And they'll put it in a trust fund, they'll transfer it over, and they don't have to pay any capital gains tax. That's the whole beauty of the whole thing. But when you do something like that, and you're like, you need to over collateralize, like, there's only so much I can do. And, Ethereum just dropped down by, 78, 90, 80%. I've only got so much Ethereum. Okay, you got to pay it off. I can't pay it off. I took all that money. It's in a loan. It's in the business. It's in the house. It's in the car, whatever else. Okay, we'll liquidate it. And then on top of that liquidation, we have our fees. And on top of that liquidation, that capital gains, Hopefully that wasn't within a year, because you got short-term capital gains, pal, and that's on you. Here's your IRS form, and have fun with paying those taxes. Yeah. Hope that made sense. Hey, that's not bad. Meme question about sweat. When I went to actually claim it, it asked me to state I was not a U.S. resident. Yeah. Well, it said the same thing to me, because it's all about, I think there's something with a problem with geolocation. It thinks we're in like the Bahamas, or like we're in the Virgin Islands, because that was the same thing with me. I just said that I am a U.S. resident, and I put on my zip code, and that was it. So I'll see you in the next meetup, and we'll talk about it. Let's see. That's the same thing. Dog training. Walking with paws. Yeah. Bullish mindset. Market cap is key. Tokens at 100x for now. $10 billion coins. Tokens. Yeah, it's very true. It's much easier when you go down that hole, or that market cap. The thing is, though, is that it gets exponentially more risky. Because how many cryptos are out there? You ever thought about that? How many different cryptos? Thousands? Let's see. 109. These aren't even ranked. These are all the dead and dying ones. Like, look at all these things. I got to be in the 800s by now. How do you know which one it is? Denari. How can you tell? Because I got to tell you, okay, Forever Box. I think Forever Box is going to be awesome. And you know what's great about it? It only has 10 million supply. Total supply is only 10 million. The volume is a little bit low, but this is your chance to get into it. Don't you understand? You can make a ton of money. That's the things you got to worry about. Watch the next influencer. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. John says loans will be an inevitable progression as Bitcoin is. I can believe that. I just think that we're too volatile right now. Our Joker says, have you ever heard anything about the midnight token airdrop of stakers for ADA? It is my understanding that not all staking pools will get it. So we don't know exactly how this is all going to work out. This was an announcement in the Cardano Foundation as they had their event this last week. We know it's going to happen as far as midnight. It's being developed right now. It is actually going to be, I believe, put on Polkadot, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it is, which is weird to think about. Let me show you. One second. Anyhow, me and my team, we are going to work diligently to be able to offer the airdrop for all ADA holders of whatever that is from midnight when we know, but this is going to be months and months and months in advance. So just so you know. Let's see. Here we go, right here. Let me show you this. I thought this was odd. This is right from the Polkadot Foundation. Cardano will use Substrate, the foundation of the Polkadot SDK, to build out its partner chain, Midnight, showcasing Substrate potential to expand across Web3 and its ease for use of other chains and ecosystems. So multi-chain, I guess there you go. Interesting. All right. Negatron. And I think, yeah, we know we're in alt season when Ben is bullish. It's going to take a lot for him to be bullish. Okay, so I think I've boxed them. I think that's it. Lights are gone down. I got to go home, and my back can't take it. So that's it for today. So look, everybody, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Everything to talk about it is time sensitive, but thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate y'all, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Adios.